Mr. Donut's Awesome Math Network. It's the Awesome Math Network. Yeah. Math Network.
Welcome back to the Mr. Donut's Awesome Math Network. We are out here, as they say. And we are continuing our work on... Welcome back to the Mr. Donut's Awesome Math Network. As you know, we stay out here, and we are continuing our work with proportional relationships and equations. Here we go. We're working with equations today. Our criteria for success tells us that we will know we are successful if we can write the constant of proportionality as an entry in a table. Also, if we can write an equation of the form y equals kx, well, my students out there, hope you remember that, to represent a proportional relationship described by a table or a story. All right? So here we have a table that we're building on. We're using the same table actually that has to do with a recipe for making bread, because as you will remember from the previous lesson, we stay making bread. Smell me? And in this recipe, we know that for every 8 tablespoons of honey, we need 10 cups of flour. When we're asking ourselves for the constant of proportionality, we're asking for the rate, the instance or the time that something happens once. Bless you. Bless you again. My students out there, and those of you who are new, will tell you that when I have a table, I want to label it. I want to label the value of x. I want to label the value of y. And now we want to make sure we are adding the table for k. Well, not the table, adding a column to our table. This is k. And the way we get k is by starting with the equation k equals y over x. When you write k equals y over x, physically y is over x. Visually y is over x. This translates into this translates into x equals y divided by x. So again, I'm going to rewrite this as k equals y divided by x. So k is going to be determined by dividing a value from the y column. And the only one we know here is 10. 10 divided by 8. And 10 divided by 8 is 1.25, 1 1/4. I'm going to put that in my k column. 0.25. And I'm going to write it down all the way through. Whatever values I have in the x column, I can now multiply by the constant of proportionality, my k. 1 times 1.25 is 1.25. 16 times 1.25 is 20. And 30 times 1.25 is 37.5, 37 and a half. Now, this last column, or this last box, if you will, well, we have h. You might be asking yourself, well, we don't know what h is. Okay, cool. We don't know what h is. So instead of focusing on what we don't know, let's focus on what we do know. And what we do know is that whatever number is in my x column, because the constant of proportionality is 1.25, whatever number it is, h could be 1, h could be 2, h could be 3. Well, h can't be 1 because we've already used 1. H could be a billion. Whatever number it is, it's going to be multiplied by the constant of proportionality, our k, which is 1.25. So the way I would write that in this column is 1.25 h. That is saying whatever value I have for h from my x column would be multiplied by 1.25. I'm going to erase over here because we're going to touch on our second part of our criteria for success, going back here, which was to write an equation in the form of y equals kx. What does that mean? I'm going to start again. If you're asked to write an equation, just as a piece of advice, you just write out y equals kx. Doesn't hurt. It's a nice reminder, like your own personal reference. I'm going to rewrite this as y. My battery going to run low. Equals. Now, what did we determine k to be? We determined that k was 1.25. And x. What this equation is saying is that the numbers or the values that would be in the y column can be determined by multiplying the number in the k column by the constant of proportionality. To take it a step further, we can rewrite this equation using the values or an abbreviation, a variable that represents the columns that we were using. So now, y represented flour, and they use C for cups. I can rewrite this as C equals 1.25, and x, we'll use T for tablespoons. And I apologize, let me clean that up a little bit because it's below that line. Got a little fancy right here. What we're saying is y is determined by, forgiveness please, those Simpsons there. C equals 1.25 T. You're saying the cups of flour can be determined by multiplying 1.25 and the amount of tablespoons of honey. So that is how we use a table to write an equation in y equals kx form. And I want us again to just pay special attention over here to the fact that when we had this table originally, just bare bones, honey, flour, some numbers. We added, or we labeled x, y. We added the k column to our table. We added the 1.25 right down as the constant of proportionality, and we were able to determine all the values that would go in for y. Now let's say I wrote the number 10 here, which I want to do with my students many times. They would say, okay, well, does this change? Well, 1.25 is still the constant of proportionality. So this would be 12 and a half. Right? Because k stays the same. Oh, and let me add my k over here because it's constant. Right? Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to teaching you some more this week on the Mr. Donut's Awesome Math Network. Oh, almost forgot. Today's episode was brought by the Yeezy Zebras. These are fire. They restocked like 100 times. I don't care. I don't care who has them. I got them. And they're fresh. They match with everything because they're zebra. And if it's zebra, it matches with everything. That's science. Take care. Keep smiling.
Mr. Donut's Awesome Math Network. It's the Awesome Math Network. Yeah. Math Network.